getting tougher and tougher every single season. I think we're bringing in great new talent and weeding out some of the underperformers. I hope that DawN can maybe scrape by once again. He'll have to start off with the hybrid Demon Hunter, one of the players that believes Irebound Brute is still worth it at 8 mana. We'll have to see if that is true versus Druid. I did think that this matchup was pretty good for the Anaconda player. The alignment, yes, you can play Brutes into it because they will cost 0 after alignment, but Lady Anaconda can create boards bigger than that, and it will shut down the che0nsu very likely if the alignment comes on time.
And again, I hope che0nsu doesn't mind me remarking, but I love his wardrobe. I feel like everything he wears, I want that. I feel like it probably suits him better than it would suit me, but just, I don't know, I like that color. It's a nice little sweater he's got there. So good job, che0nsu, again.
One trip to Uniqlo, I swear, you'll find all of that type of clothing.
I want to have clothes, but not shop for them. And, well, I mean, yeah. Mum did that before, but here we are. I do my best now. I do my best. And good job, che0nsu. Either way, starting things off very nicely for che0nsu with Overgrowth, Fungal Fortunes, as you were talking about. It doesn't even need to be Celestial Alignment. Just ramping up to those big Anaconda returns can very often be more than good enough to get you ahead in this matchup.
Especially when DawN's hand is Brutes trapping the Spectral side. Oh my god, this is a disaster! It was already tough before the nerfs. If you had this type of hand where the Brutes are effectively locking out any outcastable cards you get until like turn 5 or something, because you need to outcast cards to play Brutes. But if you can't outcast cards, you can't play Brutes. And if you can't play Brutes, you can't outcast cards. It's a disaster!
It is a disaster. I guess you can go for, what, Spectral Sight now, just because it's never really going to be that efficient of a quest procer. But like even here, the fact that you've played the Illidari studies means what? Do you have to play the Sigil runner now, lest it just gets stuck in non-outcast forever? But if you do, it's going to be so hard to even complete the quest in the coming turns. Like, everything is going wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I was inclined to either just Spectral that turn or Hero Power Pass. I wanted to save that studies for turn 4 because I think this hand needs a glide. It's the only way it's getting fixed, in my opinion. Yeah, you could have held the Spectral side because there's just no good draws I can think of that fix this, that you want to play the very next turn. I just think glide on turn 4 has to happen for anything to work out here.
Guild Trader, I mean... So again, we need to actually consider quest completion, right? Because glide is the dream, but it's unlikely to be drawn in outcast position on turn 4. So are we going to go for the game plan of turn 4, trade the Guild Trader Spectral Sight and hope to hit either another tradable or a double jump to be able to complete the quest? Or do you just trade the Guild Trader here in the hope to hit either Tusk Piercer or Sigil? It's not especially clear, but I feel like you're supposed to wait a turn on this Guild Trader to give you maximum quest completion chance.
I'm inclined to agree, and because you're doing that, the Moarg for tempo is fine. Druid's not playing any damage spells other than Lunar Eclipse, and if your Moarg gets Lunar Eclipse, not the end of the world. That's not your win condition at the moment, but che0nsu is under so little pressure. This is the easiest fungal in the world. No disaster cards discarded. There's a Okay, Glide, you're just today. Oh my god.
There's no way. There's no way.
It needed to be that.
He gets the second one in position. What is happening today?
I'll tell you what, DawN's just winning. That's what's happening now.
Just winning by miles. Okay, Fungal is big, but it's happening again. He's getting blitz chunked. He's just going to get glitted again.
Two Fungal Fortunes can happen this turn, and it can all get glitted back. Not like this. Oh man, Derek, he's going to play the other one. You can still play the other one after the lunar.
Mate, if this was me, there would be a hole in that wall behind me after this play. I would be absolutely fuming.
Well, you need to take some Zen classes from Blitzchung. He survived this 7 times, Derek.
Seriously, yeah, he is a bigger man than I, for sure.
Onsta.
Onsta, right? You just slam that bad boy. I guess you can take the discount if you want.
Oh my god. I mean, yes, you want that in your deck rather than Selena I-Beam, so yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I can't. What is it with the Glide today, Derek? Everybody should just ban Demon Hunter.
The brute philosophy as well.
God.
Oh my goodness. You can trade acrobatics so you can outcast it if you want. I guess that's probably right, even though you won't be completing quest.
Yeah, I want 2 7/8s. Thanks. I mean,
I think I want 2 6/7s. Yeah. I think I prefer this line.
Yeah, complete quest next turn. Fair enough. Well, or you give yourself a better chance at completing quest next turn.
Damn. Well, Anaconda in hand, guess the weight as well. Obviously isn't a nature spell, so it's going to need a setup turn first. But with a second guess the weight, he's been glidded twice, but still has a pretty reasonable hand for the following turn. But he's just going with alignment. Wow.
Oh, this is insta alignment. DawN can't che0nsu.
That's true.
We have Anaconda next turn.
Yeah, good point. That's actually insane.
Although the Anaconda is not that good yet. You get Cenarian Arbor up, but it's a bit dangerous, right? If you don't get a taunt, you are at 17 and DawN is threatening 14.
That's not a good draw.
But he needed something to happen. I still think it was correct.
Oh, again!
Another board rush!
Man, he's making quite the dynamic entrance.
But he's not even. If you get the activation, he gets the cool animation with the guitar. But he's just appearing. Ugh. Well, I don't think there's outs for immediate lethal for DawN if you have to spend 1 mana on Spectral Sight, because if you get Il'gynoth, you won't have mana to play the fancy class. I still think he draws, though.
Yeah, you can complete quest this turn, right? With Spectral, Acro, and then Swing. You do have to take a gamble, obviously, that you don't draw the Peddler off of your Spectral Sight, because you go Spectral, Swing, and then Acrobatics. But I think that's worth the risk, right? You need to draw cards anyway, whether or not you're doing the quest.
It's completing whether or not you swing if you play both those spells, right? Well.
Oh, good point. Apologies. Yeah.
The thing is, it's just not aiding the board state whatsoever. It's getting him interest. So I think, if anything, these draws are more important to get him to Il'gynoth to set up a 2-turn lethal. I still think go for it, though. Okay, gonna clear the Anaconda. Reasonable. It would make sure that che0nsu's next turn is not a complete blowout.
Okay, you can't go double Moog Fellscream next turn, but the turn after, which you're fairly likely to survive to, you can go double Moog Fellscream and maybe some spell damage if you find it before then as well. But that's spicy top deck.
Yeah, it doesn't really make the trades cleaner, unfortunately. I think the Mordresh is going in the 6-7 no matter what.
Yeah.
So che0nsu's going to start with the draw. Everything costs 1, so yeah, just take that 1 draw. I think you just slam the Arbor up and then trade a Treant into 6-2, Mordresh into 6-7, other Treant face. It's a giant board.
Wow, okay. Your board's a little flimsy then, right? Like, you have fairly low health minions. I know Arbor Up only gives +1/+1, but that can make a big difference.
Yeah, potentially. It's a
+1 health.
breakpoint. Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Wow.
That's the clear.
Yeah. DawN's just winning again.
Man, oh man.
I mean, I think you can fellow for a Moarg here. I'd rather have another copy of that than save it for a potential 0-cost Moarg later, or the other Brute. And then you can go Morg Immolation. That's 4 damage AoE.
Yeah, the question is just whether you would rather get in Tusk Piercer, because it's not especially good on this turn. You kind of rather do it after the Kurtra's turn anyway. So yeah, I agree. I think it's probably philosophy on this turn.
Oh, he's just saving Morg altogether. Okay. Still a clear.
Sure.
No, I was kind of interested in saving Fell Scream because I'm looking for DawN to get lethal without Kurtrus. You don't need it, right? Like, che0nsu's at 10. You need Il'gynoth, which costs 1 at the moment, so I kind of wanted to have that Fell Scream in tow and an additional Morg, but fair enough. He has another one in the deck.
I agree, but none of that's really going to matter because che0nsu's hand is doo-doo. Innovate into Innovate as the 2 cards you draw, obviously with a an ineffectual Guess the Weight in the middle. Doesn't really matter at all. Just need to not die.
And not glide. This glide is for the first time. It's not good.
Correct. We're not gliding here.
Can honestly play the Peddler and it's fine. But you probably just play the Guild Trader, I think, get the maximum draws from the Acro.
Yeah, it's tempting her. It's annoying that if you get another Fell Scream, you can't play it because you need it for the actual combo.
It's fine. Oh, I think Spectral maybe should have happened there first. I don't, or maybe he would have overdrawn. I didn't see.
It would have been exactly okay. At this point, you're probably just jamming Immo, right? I don't think it's getting any better than this. I guess Persistent Peddler just does the same thing. You're kind of just equal on board, and there's no real punish to leaving up these 4/3s. So this is fine.
Yeah, I like this as well. I'm just really not sure about the Spectral. I just want to find Il'gynoth sooner rather than later, because che0nsu might draw Cenarian Horde again at some point and get out of range. But I guess next turn you can just Kurtrus. Dan corrected, he did get to Kurtrus this game.
Yeah. Big deal. Very big deal. And then it's just, I think, guaranteed lethal the next turn, right? I don't think there's any way out of it.
Yep. He is out of draws from double jump. So.
Okay, true. Yeah.
But there's still an acrobatics and 2 sigils. I mean, the sigils are kind of bricks in the immediacy, but the very next turn it would guarantee lethal.
Yeah.
Reasonably likely to be lethal right now.
Yeah, and theoretically even Glide could do it, but che0nsu just throws it down. He knows he got glided this game. It's happening every single series, or at least the big ones, with Alutemu destroying Blitzchung with glides in the first time we saw it, and now DawN has learnt from the best from Alutemu, and he's employing it in his own game plan. Obviously just brutally unlucky for che0nsu. There's nothing else you can say about it. Glide off the top on 4 into in-position glide the turn after when he went double Fungal Fortunes. It was astronomically unlucky for che0nsu. But it happens. That's the win con with this deck, and DawN hit it.
I mean, it's not the only win con, but with that opening hand he had with the 2 brutes, it did have to be glide to get DawN any chance of having a win condition in this game. And he hit it, and that means that he will have the chance to glide again. He is not anywhere close to meeting Alutemu's record 7 glides. That was only 2 glides this game. By this point, Alutemu had played 3, so step it up, DawN. We gotta see 20 glides today.
We got to hit that quota. We've got demands to meet here, all right? This is bigger than just us. But now in terms of, as we were saying, the response that is available to Demon Hunter, with Rogue and Mage left over for che0nsu, I would guess that Rogue is the way to go. I'm going to say that Mage feels a little bit slower of a combo deck overall and is still relatively vulnerable to Glide. Not quite so much as Rogue, as we saw for Blitzchung earlier on in the day, but still can be bad. And so I think just getting the Rogue in a reasonable matchup is still fine.
I'd agree. Maybe not so much because of Glide. I know it's easy to focus on it because it's done that much work today, but alignment. Mage does not beat Celestial alignment. If it comes down before Varden, they are so far behind, and the Druid has tons of armor, so even post Varden, they might not necessarily get the kill right away. So I do favor the Rogue. I don't think it's necessarily a good matchup, but doable, right? We haven't seen the neophyte, step neophyte type openers from the Rogue. I think that's the best way to beat up on Druid. If you can get down an early Kazakus, an Octobot for tempo, that's definitely one way that you can race Druids of any ramp variety. So even though Glide has kind of shifted our perspective on the matchup quite a bit, on average, it shouldn't be doing that many appearances in these games.
Indeed, but here it is. We see che0nsu is actually going to be lining up the Mage against the Demon Hunter
really?
rather than the Rogue, which is a little surprising. But let's take a look at the list that he's got. che0nsu. Who was it that popularized this list? Was it Sirius who built this version? I remember him playing it a little while ago. But either way, this is kind of the newer version of Mage that I think most people are playing, if they're playing Mage at all, because it's obviously become, despite what you may hear on social media, not that much of a problem in the metagame right now. I don't think it's that powerful. Very susceptible to aggro. And when there's a Rogue and Demon Hunter in the metagame, I feel like their combo, if you want to call it that, with Varden or Arcanist or Grasp, is just a little bit too slow.
The 10th glide of the day, Dar. The 10th glide! The 10th!
The old Decker glide. The glider deck. Okay.
Might even hit the Dodeca glide.
Oh, yeah.
Isohedra glide.
Yeah, all the platonic glides. We've got all of them covered in this broadcast.
Yeah. No such thing as a romantic glide. Well,
Yeah.
Piercer, coin
Agreed.
glide. Yeah.
Sounds good. I think
You might not coin it if you feel like che0nsu gets more draws, but
Right.
if he takes a draw, you could absolutely just glide.
studies. Okay, fair enough. Yuck. Dreadlord's Bite isn't a minion, right?
Yes, yes.
Whereas
Yeah.
the others are minions, which you never really want to play against Mage, so I think I'm taking that.
I agree. They're definitely all yuck. He
Yes.
essentially is just going to shuffle a bad card back into his deck at the benefit of discounting a glide, which is not an insta-play here because it's not necessarily disrupting che0nsu with the number of cards drawn.
Right.
DawN has this alternative with acrobatics to complete quest 1.
I don't know. I still kind of wanted to do it. Like, you have the weapon intact, so next turn after you glide, there's like a reasonable chance that you'll be able to just do the quest again. And it means that the discount you're getting here is nothing, right? Because you're so likely going to glide on the following turn anyway. I guess not necessarily because you do discount an acrobatics, but it still feels on 4 mana a little bit hopeful that you'll be able to complete the second level of quest next turn without glide.
Maybe he just does it this turn then and is accepting that he would shuffle back more cards of his own if che0nsu also does the same. Interestingly, DawN should also know that the secret is Oasis ally because he'll have seen the Frost proc and he went face and it wasn't barrier.
True. Yeah.
So I don't really know how relevant the Oasis is at the moment, but that 27 health could be because DawN can still get a hero power face, which changes breakpoints potentially for certain Il'gynoth plays later on.
Now, I absolutely agree. It is glide time. Your opponent just drew a couple cards, and the that sigil is just perfect. The cherry on the top of the cake to make sure that you're very likely to complete the final step of the quest next turn as well.
But the Spectral now is not easily outcastable because of this Il'gynoth in the way. It could still be outcastable next turn. che0nsu with the Mag Theridon.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about this. Maybe this is why he queued up the Mage. This is one way to beat Demon Hunter.
It is, yep. Insta Maggie T gives you targets for your spells, which is nice if you're drawing Brain Freeze or the Flurry as well on the following turn. And also just a 12-12. As we've been talking about, single target removal is not the specialty of any deck in this metagame, realistically.
Not great for DawN.
Does kind of suck. I mean, you could still do quest, right? You just go trade spectral, which is fine.
True. Not the greatest discounts, but you'll take a quest completion at the moment. Like, he doesn't need the answer for Magtheridon yet.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's a way to generate one, but very possibly you're just trying to race at this point. Get the quest done, play the Kurtrus, deal the lethal. Does he even need Kurtrus with this discount on Moarg and the Il'gynoth in hand? Oh, sorry, it's not discount, my bad.
Yeah, exactly, because he gets the Kurtrus. I mean, it's still a decent point you bring up. Like, he has a fair bit of damage, but I think the thing is, like, with all the damage he's dealing face, you just go Kurtrus next turn, because it's kind of unlikely they can even kill all the Acolytes. And even if they can and they punch you for 12 the turn after when you play Kurtrus, that's still okay, because I think you have a reasonable shot of just winning the game the turn after.
Fair enough. But it is a relatively easy clear for che0nsu here with the Fire Sail, with a Frost Spell picked up as well. I'm not sure what he's missing for current quest, but if he's playing Cram Session, I'd wager he just lacks Arcane for this layer.
Yeah.
And then you go Flurry Fire Sail? He's gonna Flurry the Kurtrus, I guess, then.
Yeah, I guess he knows that's coming, and he doesn't have any... Like, there's no benefit of discovering a card on this turn, because he won't be able to play it. So I think this is smart.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. It's a very appropriate standoff here between Kurtrus and a big old demon. Just hoping that he'll be able to get the lethal in time. Acrobatics is a very nice draw, but mana is going to be incredibly tight next turn for DawN.
Yeah, with the Il'gynoth and the Moarg already in hand. There's still another Moarg in deck that could cost 0.
Yeah.
Very, very big deal. The damage spells are already available, and for che0nsu now, he takes Hot Streak. Can he finish quest and play Varden this turn? He actually lacks Arcane, right?
Cantus Flow is the cheapest he has. Yeah, you're right.
But maybe Springwater gets him something cheaper?
True. It would need to be 1 cost, right? So it'd have to be Studies.
I think I might take that risk if you're facing off against Kurtrus already. Going counterspell though, which is fair. This is also just getting the Arcanist Dawn Grasp in hand and potentially disrupting DawN. Hard to put this on actual disruption because he has so many cards, but it'll be easy for DawN to test this with, I guess, the Immolation Aura.
Oh, that's 2 whole mana. Like, are you really spending that? I mean, I guess you're right. You just start with something that isn't acrobatics, then you hope that this is good enough. But man, this 12/12 hits so hard.
It does. Okay, play.
Yep, agreed.
At worst, you can Fell Scream your own board and heal out of range. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have lethal this turn because the Il'gynoth is too expensive at this point. But it's alright.
Yeah, he's just got to survive, doesn't he? A second guild trade. You don't really want to play that, though, do you?
No, you don't. Yeah, he's out of spell damage in that case. Like, it's not impossible to OTK because he still has 2 Philosophies and the other Moarg. So technically, you could still play, like, 3 Moargs from this point. But I'd rather keep that for some flexibility. I just want to see 1 cost Fell Scream own board here to not die and give yourself some next turn.
Oh, he's
Moarg.
Playing the Moarg as well. Wow, okay.
Okay, so leaving the Guild Trader up. Fair enough. He's safe for now.
Indeed. So Flurry completes the quest, right? And then you can go Varden into... Saying Cantus Flow you'd go for at that point, just to try and win the game next turn? Like, I don't think you're getting anything that impactful immediately off of Cram Session.
I'd really like to second flame the spell damage, though. I'm scared of that.
That's a good point.
So it probably does become Cram Session at that point. Because, like, even without the discounts, if the Magtheridon goes face, I think you can still pick up a lethal next turn. Like, maybe not outside of healing from DawN, but that spell damage is super threatening left on board. Means DawN needs to spend a lot less mana to actually get the lethal of his own. And now it's a true face-off between the quest rewards. Who gets their OTK first?
Oh, that's a big draw. Okay, he knows that's not counterspell, obviously, so you can just go with that.
Yep, right now. Right now, DawN. Right.
Oh, philosophy and a Mohawk! That's it!
GG, that is 36.
Oh.
It's the first 2 draws. It didn't have to be right now, my bad. You could have waited a whole 20 seconds more.
Yeah, the wry smirk from DawN. I mean, he knows he's getting a little helping hand from Lady Luck here so far this series, but he's, I mean, like we said, we don't think his play has been that bad throughout this season so far, so getting a little bit of luck at this point, overdue, one might argue, and 2-0 up to DawN. What a start for him. Oh my goodness, the pressure that he must be feeling. Yet another season down at the bottom, and potentially, Gia, yet another season where the dream is still not dead. He could still save himself here. 2-0 up, going through to day 2. If he gets a win this week, the dream's alive.
On the Survivor, is it happening? Yokai is back. Quite the king of APAP, but you know, the Survivor of APAP. Yo, sad. That's not catchy at all.
Yo, sad. Honestly, quite an appropriate initialism for DawN's run in Grandmasters. Has not been the best of runs.
Year of Survivor of APAC, DawN. Yeah, off the top.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
But che0nsu not out of it yet. Honestly, I didn't think it would be Mage to go into this Demon Hunter. I thought it would be Garrote Rogue, which I don't think is an easy matchup. This deck gets very wrecked by Glide, but I mean, the Mage does to an extent and also suffers worse against alignment, in my opinion. Of course, that was Druid that we're talking about. This is the Demon Hunter now.
Yes.
So hit certain keeping Shroud of Concealment already shows you where his head is at with the Glide, I think.
Right, yeah. Sorry, I think we had some lag there. I didn't quite catch your point, but I caught the end there, which was Glide in hand, and Gia, I agree.
Yes, Glide is in the hand. I mean, what I said was he didn't keep Shroud of Concealment, so it already shows you where his head is at with playing around.
Right, okay. Indeed, yeah. I mean, we've seen it from Alan, who played the really masterful game in this matchup, right, last week, where he was just playing it so weirdly, playing so liberally with his hand just to try and seize board control right out the gate. It was a very different affair because he was against Surrender, who wasn't running Immolation Aura, so I do think you have to take a more traditional approach to the matchup when your opponent does actually have a removal card in their deck. But it was interesting to see from Alan an exploration of the different routes that can be taken in this matchup.
And che0nsu is following to a certain extent, already just laying down Prize Plunderer for tempo. These are not great options from One Thief. Potion is the only one that will be even remotely useful in the matchup, but oh man.
So if Studies can hit Spectral Sight, that was quest completion on 1, I think you probably still... it's kind of interesting, actually. You could go for the Spectral Sight on double jump, which is a 50-50, given that there's two philosophies as well. Or you could just play the Sigil Runner and hope to draw another tradable. Kind of close.
I think he's just gearing up to put the runner in his deck because he's all in on Glide this turn. Next turn. And he wanted to bank that discount to play around Neophyte, I'd have to imagine.
I guess, yeah.
I don't hate it.
Sure.
The philosophy held, of course, because he wants to retain that discount on the Glide. che0nsu doesn't really have a good way of playing around Glide. You could Guardian Oak Merchant Swindle? My god, I hate it.
You could just play Contact. Oh wow, and step the The one thief. Okay, it looked like we're stepping the field contact, which is kind of my first thought on this turn. But just leaving it on board and saying, I guess if you want to play Glide, even with a mana spare, there's very specific draws that allow you to clear the contact afterwards.
Yeah, he needs Tusk Piercer, I think, or Immolation, or a discounted. So yeah, I mean, che0nsu has committed to playing around Glide just with the mulligan, and also this turn, I think it's very clear what his opinion on the situation is. So DawN, I don't think there's any opportunity to deviate from the game plan because he didn't have a guaranteed clear on the contact in the first place. So it's going to be a prayer for an Immolation Aura or a Tusk Piercer.
Yeah, even a Fell Scream Blast, but he hits absolutely nothing. The Gambit from che0nsu, the big risk he took, looks like it's going to pay off, because with Prep, Shroud as well, and a contact still in play, this is card draw city.
Yeah, that is a heck of a post-glide hand. It's just Sigil and trade here for DawN? Maybe you don't trade at all, just guarantee quest completion next turn.
Yeah, play Moog sounds weak. Yeah, Hero Power Face, sure. Oh, Hero Power the minion. Wow, okay.
Yeah, I guess this means it can't be Guardian Aug Merchanted, which is a potential annoyance for DawN here. But yeah, Prep Shroud insta for che0nsu. Octobot procced.
Oh, this
Neophyte
is
not
wrong.
playable if he does that, but it's fine, I think.
Oh, is it though? If you go Neophyte and Wand Thief, that's pretty good on this turn. Like, one of them has stealth, it makes it difficult for your opponent to complete the quest next turn, maybe. Very close.
It's tough, right? I think the Neophyte doesn't actually prevent most breakpoints from DawN being able to kill the field contact, right? So I kind of like getting as many draws from it as possible at the moment.
Okay.
I don't know if that means playing the Ethereal as well. Maybe that's a bit too much.
Yeah, he's holding off. Now that he's got the second contact as well, I think you're quite happily chilling.
Yeah, I agree. This board is still a problem for DawN. Still no Immolation Aura. Has quite a few draws to look for one, but right now the Il'gynoth is one of the worst draws in the deck. That runner. Hellscream.
That's good. That is good. Gets discounted as well, right?
Ooh,
Immolation
that's
Aura.
nuts,
Even better. This is disgusting.
Exactly what he was looking for. So just Immolation Hero Power. I guess it's not a full clear. Octobot kind of at 4 health technically here.
Yeah, I think you're fine with just leaving it in play, though. You could Hero Power it if you wanted, but I'm guessing with second Immo, you probably wouldn't even bother with that.
Yeah, I'd agree. Can't play around it being Shadow Step from this point without expending a Fell Scream, which is far too expensive, so I do favor the face attack. DawN disagrees, though. It does kind of mean che0nsu actually doesn't have that many good targets for these battle cries.
That's true. Yeah, that's a fair point.
And so, does he ever take a turn to just go Rigged Fair Game and chill? You could Rigged Fair Game Neophyte.
Right. Yeah, I kind of like it. It means that while your opponent obviously can just Hero Power Face every turn, their mana is going to be more tight because of the Neophyte, and then maybe they don't think they have it spare.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, che0nsu agrees. It's kind of forcing DawN in some worlds to choose between giving che0nsu 3 cards or completing his own quest.
I think that looks like a trade to me. Obviously, when you have no card draw in hand, you always have to consider, holding on to your card draw to set up for one quest completion. But when it's Spectral off the top, obviously there's Counter Spell that you're still afraid of, I guess, but...
You can start Immo.
Just rip it.
If you're scared of Counterspell, like, you don't complete the quest that way, but...
Yeah, that's the problem. I really want to.
Hey, DawN is scared. Man, this reminds me of when my opponent plays a Discovered Secret into Skull Turn as old OD.
Right.
And every time I play around it, and every time it's just a bluff, and they got the double benefit of the actual secret and the bluff. too hard to say, but DawN needs to make a decision now because if he's playing Spectral, he has to play another card to actually finish the quest. He's going to play around Counterspell though. Goes for the Spectral, 1 mana left to potentially trade. Play a Brute, nope, too expensive. And he misses on the quest too. It's a disaster.
Yeah, worst of both worlds here for DawN. Doesn't even get the attack phase, so there's the proc of the rigged fair game. No Brute, no quest, no tradable, no nothing for DawN. And che0nsu, he's missing that second Octobot, but aside from that, his hand's looking pretty juicy.
But it's so weird with Rogue that the hand looks juicy, but without the Octobot, it's so dead, right? Because you can't play the
I
Garrots,
guess.
so he's just going to go for Passage. I honestly thought this was Passage without Neophyte, but he's committed to delaying DawN as much as possible. Again, for DawN, I think he might have panicked on the rope there. I think you're supposed to Hero Power face when you have that spare mana and you see that it is not Counterspell. But he's not stepping Octobot.
Yeah, that looked like an insta-step Octobot to me, I've got to be honest.
He's gonna prep Potion and play another Neophyte, right? Delete card?
I mean...
Which is not a good card to draw. I don't know.
I guess, but like, Octobot in hand, wasn't that exactly what his hand needed? You can just play the Octobot, of course, and hope that it survives. Like, I guess, admittedly, it's kind of tough for them to actually clear the Octobot in one turn.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
There was no prep Potion with the Octobot line, because you just had a 1-1 where that doesn't really do anything. Octobot can't be frenzied. But the important part is Octobot is presented as a threat in one way or another.
True.
Which is kind of crucial for che0nsu's current board state. I still think I agree with you. I'd rather it have been stepped to the hand to make sure it goes off for sure next turn. But as it happens, DawN does not have a good answer. Used Fell Scream, used in Immolation, or it doesn't get the job done here. Is it ever just a Brute? I hate it. Probably Glide, right?
Just Glide for quest. I mean, yeah, sure, like, everything feels awful. But, I mean, honestly, the more I think about it, the more I actually quite like this line from che0nsu. Like, with double Neophyte in play, it's so specific the hand your opponent has to have discounted to be able to clear the Octobot in one fell swoop, because they need, like, spell damage and Moarg, or double Moarg, to be able to clear it in one fell swoop. Like, it's really, really tough. And it means now, he made his opponent's turn very awkward, and he gets the Octobot procced, and he's very possibly just looking at lethal.
Yeah, he doesn't even need to draw all the Garrots here. And che0nsu's just going for it. I think it's fine. Like, DawN at 17 with 4 spell damage, you only need to draw like 2 bleeds and a clear on the Brute, or just draw 3 bleeds. Like, there's many different ways to do this. He has Ignite as well.
Right.
I think Swindle
I feel like Swindle's better, yeah. I have no idea if it's better to go first or second, like drawing spells from your deck first. Probably better to go second, but I'm not sure.
He's just playing Aug Merchant, so he has mana flexible. But you need to be aware of the animations here, because the bleeds are really slow, and you might see that there's enough to just get there with Ignite. It's not enough though, so he's going Swindle, and the card is still green, so I think DawN's alive?
I think DawN's dead because it's not playable, which means...
Oh, true, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
DawN is dead in this one. che0nsu gets a win on the board. We've seen it already today, Gio. The Demon Hunter gets 2 ridiculous Glide wins to start things off, and then it feels like their opponent can maybe turn things around. And for che0nsu, to be fair, he is left on the Garrot Rogue, what I would deem as the strongest deck in the metagame. But to win 2 games in a row is still a very uphill climb.
Definitely feels like it. That is the end of the glides for the day, Derek. We've capped it at the Deca Glide. Didn't make it to the Isopolyhedra Glide or whatever. But che0nsu with a quick nod at the camera before he takes what I think is a bathroom break to collect himself. Will have 2 more games he needs to win on this Garrot Rogue, and DawN has his pick of what he wants to counter queue into it. I don't necessarily think he has that great of a counter to Garrot Rogue. I don't think Shaman's in any position to do that consistently. There's no Control Warrior and no aggro deck either from DawN, but gonna given 2 tries, you can sometimes scam a Garrote Rogue one way or another. It's harder without Glide, though, I have to say.
It is, yeah, much harder. I mean, that was the counter queue. Like, Demon Hunter versus Rogue, I think, is a good matchup. The nerf to Brutes obviously is going to hurt because it's much more difficult to get down those big Brute turns, which Rogue simply can't answer for the most part. But again, Glide should get the job done. It was just through some very clever play from che0nsu with the tempo field contact to be able to follow up on the turn after. It meant that even if he didn't get as good of a hand as he did with Prep, Shroud, and Octobot and another field contact, he would still have been able to keep up the extra card draw and been in a very good spot. So well deserved by che0nsu to take the win there. And as you said, the Quest Shaman, especially in its neutered form with 2 mana Perpetual Flame. Don't let that graphic fool you. It's now all the way up to 2. And the fact that the quest now needs 3 Overload cards played at every point, even the final step to get Brucan, just makes it that little bit slower to get Brucan online, which is really where I think you start truly fighting back against the Rogue.
Yes, there is a world where Shaman can get pressure down because in terms of their aggressive game plan in the early game, nothing actually got nerfed. But having that less flexibility because that Perpetual Flame has been nerfed and Brucan takes a little while longer to get down can be a big difference maker here. che0nsu with Shroud and Neophyte in the opener and Kazakas, I kind of like this as a 3-keep even though none of these cards are Field Contact or Octobot. It's just like a strong curve. In my opinion.
Pretty good. Yeah, I agree. Cult Neophyte can be very strong against Rogue, against Shaman, sorry, just to disrupt their big turns. But che0nsu clearly disagrees. Again, wants to hit the nuts with the Octobot, the field contact, pop off in those early turns. And with Double Shroud in hand, as slow as it may be, it of course forebodes deeply powerful turns.
Well, if he ends up with coin Shroud into Shroud with a contact, sure, this is probably better than the Neophyte curve we were talking about, which, to be fair, if DawN does hit that hyper-aggressive opener from Shaman with, like, Note Taker, Bloom, that type of thing, then that curve is far too slow. DawN is just going to go ahead with the full aggro game plan, which I'm on board for. Unlock the quest immediately, get a 3-drop alongside this Zapper. That is below average, but at least it's got a decent amount of health on it.
Decent, yeah. That's the optimistic look at it. I like your outlook. But now, oh my goodness, for che0nsu, this hand that was looking good is starting to look bananas.
Wow.
Double Octobot with a contact as well. Drew both of those before he even hit the, before he even played the Shroud of Concealment. He just needs to not let himself die, and he's fine.
For now, DawN has the option to just drop the Note Taker because he's committed to kind of a pressure game plan. If they have Brain Freeze, yes, it's dead, but that's a Brain Freeze that's not killing the Novice Zapper potentially, and that's what's dealing the most damage here. He's going to take it slower though. There's the Brain Freeze. And I think it's right for che0nsu to not get greedy with this Shroud of Concealment here. He has 2 Octobots, time to stop taking so much damage.
Yeah, I do think you also have proc it immediately with spell damage on the other side, Flame or Lightning Bolt or Slogger. Too many ways to clear it off. And so just get the clear set up for probably Contact Passage actually next turn rather than what you have in hand. And it should be looking very juicy.
Could be. Could also be like Shroud, and if you hit another procer, just Octobot proc again.
Oh, true, yeah.
There's a lot of different ways to approach it. But DawN with the Note Taker Flame now. Oh, it's so expensive, Derek. Granted, it doesn't make a difference in this spot where he had 4 mana, but...
principle.
Yeah, it's the principle of it.
Okay, just
for option
straight
C,
up.
Just Passage, yeah. Swindle, yes, sign me up.
Ooh, Broom as well.
Double Swindle?
Wow. How many cards do we have in hand?
I think 5. I think he's fine.
Yeah,
oh, and if he's
prep,
using
second
prep,
one.
definitely fine. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Just looking for, I guess, Prize Plunderer to go with the Broomstick to stop taking this damage.
Do we really want to play an Og Merchant here? Why not just dump the Broom?
Oh, you want to go just Broom and trade the 1/1?
Yeah, I mean, this Ethereal, this Ethel is going back to the original hand, right? Whereas the Broom is...
Right.
So I would like to delete the Broom from the deck and probably keep the Shadow Step in the deck. I think that has utility.
I mean, he's still deleting the Broom, right? It's just, it gets rid of the Orc Merchant as well. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was... Oh, okay, Shadow Stepping it back. Okay. He does need to be a little bit afraid of his actual combo potential now, because that's one Shadow Step and one Orc Merchant done, which means to do the full 32, he does need to save that second Shadow Step for Orc Merchant. But his play is just going to be very, very strong next turn still.
Yeah. The Broom is a procer for the Octobot technically on this card state, so it is definitely still reasonable as a Shadow Step target. He has the Prep Shroud to discount those minions as well. che0nsu is going to hit the bottom of his deck on like turn 6. Might be the fastest combo we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's at least turn 7 lethal, I think, guaranteed, and like you said, very possibly sooner, because he has almost no cards left in deck already before he's even gone for this turn. This is just a ludicrous game of Hearthstone that he's got here in terms of the draw.
Oh, discounting both Marots as well.
Does miss out on the smaller minions, which is a little annoying, because those would be much more preferable to discount.
Is it ever wait on contact again, like Kazaka's 1-cost Broom Rush? Or sorry, Octobot Broom. Oh, too late now.
Yeah, I just think you can set up more likely lethal on the next turn, right?
Yeah, he does have both field contacts, and he did once again choose to get card draw and rush over 1 extra mana, which is fine in this situation. It gets him a full clear as well if he wants it. Damage.
Yeah, just to shore up any wobbles that may happen with your game plan. And then, as you said, Neo to close things out. As he goes meow over the finish line to a very likely lethal.
Never do that again.
I hate myself.
Okay, with no Octobots left, I'm not sure if it's guaranteed lethal next turn, but it doesn't have to be. He is quite safe at the moment. DawN has Perpetual for the full clear, but he'll be overloaded for 5 at the next turn.
Right, and so if you go Marsh Spawn, are there any outs whatsoever? If you can get Guidance and then hit double bolt and bolt off the top, like I know it's unbelievably unlikely, but does Perpetual Flame ever get you there? Like, you're losing this game so hard right now.
Very likely, giving che0nsu board space is possibly even just him at the moment. So, but if you play Marsh Spawn, you're also giving board space because they can just trade. Is it ever Bolt Face and pass?
I don't think so. I think it's Marsh Spawn Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
Like, we're approaching like 1% outers or something. Maybe that's even generous. It's so unlikely, but I guess, you know, if we're going down this line, it's more likely your opponent just messes up the combo than you hit the out. Like, I think that's realistically a better chance of winning the game. Like, maybe they just haven't saved any health on their minions, right? And they can't get enough procs of spell damage. I don't know.
Yeah, DawN simply had no card he could play that would leave him with an empty board because every overload spell would have progressed his quest to get the 3/3. If che0nsu is going Kazakus, then he has calculated he doesn't have guaranteed lethal just yet, which is fine. He is not dead on 12. Does DawN run Overdraft? Hold on. Yes, he does. 2 copies, actually.
Okay, that's the out. Fair enough.
He has 2 mana next turn, right? And he can but with Neophyte, he's removed the out.
Well, no, he'll have 2 mana left over, right? So it...
Yeah, you can play Overdraft, but he won't be dead, right?
Right. Overdraft into Lightning Bolt, Marsh Spawn. Yeah, you're right. There's just nothing there. Right, you are.
However, if there were no Neophyte and DawN had Lightning Bolt and then Overdraft, it was still not lethal. It was 9 damage, I think.
Yeah, it would have to be Guidance into Bolt plus Overdraft to be able to get there, which, I mean, to be fair to DawN, giving himself the out of Overdraft is actually probably a better chance at winning the game through burn next turn and clearing the board at the same time. So fair enough. I do think he took the correct line in what is undeniably a miserable game, and a very, very unlikely chance of getting the win anyway.
What to do?
For che0nsu, though, I mean, let's say DawN had another Perpetual Flame here. Does he actually have enough targets for the spell damage right now?
Good question. He has one Thief in deck, so
okay.
yes.
But what if that's the last card in your deck? And you have to play Og Merchants before that to get to it.
Yeah, you can just shoot your own stuff, right? Like you can go...
Fair enough.
I think no matter what order the cards come in, because you can just go like Penflinger, shoot your Guardian Orc Merchant with the Penflinger, or shoot your Penflinger with the Guardian Orc Merchant. Like, you know, I think there'll always be enough targets for your battle cries. And obviously here, with the board surviving, it's child's play here for che0nsu to take the win.
Yep. Gonna go Garrot, play 2 battle cries. That will draw everything out, guaranteed.
And Gia,
be the game.
the situation that DawN is all too familiar with, right on death's door, right on the precipice of being relegated out of Grandmasters. It looked like with a 2-0 start, the Dreams may be surviving, and it's not over yet, not at all. He's still got a chance against this Rogue, but with the Druid, I've got to say, I just don't like this matchup very much for the Druid. I think the Rogue is too fast, they have too much disruption with the Neophyte as well, and it's too difficult to answer their wide boards. The field contacts very often end up sticking later on in the game. And for DawN, if he does end up taking the loss here, it's looking so unlikely that he'll be able to survive. Even if he gets a win in the final week, I think that it's still looking a bit scary.
For sure. I will say, though, that between Druid and Shaman, I'm not sure which one I like playing more versus Rogue. Like, don't get me wrong, I feel like Rogue is good against both, but
yeah,
Druid can get there. I feel that even though Step Neophyte is very annoying to Druid, if that's not backed up by a lot of pressure on the other side, very likely they can just outlast all of the Neophyte effects and then play their alignment and be happy, or play an Anaconda turn. It's the specific combination of an Octobot hand with Neophyte that really beats Druid, because the Octobot allows you to play all your little guys for free, right? All the 1-cost minions can come down and maybe add up to 8-10 damage, and you drop down a Neophyte beside that. Suddenly you're threatening a 2-turn clock. But if it's just Neophyte by itself, Druid can still beat that.
Very true, especially as you laid out with the build that has a lot more punch to it, not the che0nsu version. Glowflies, the Anaconda, big swing turns are very, very possible, and even just ignoring the Celestial alignment, once again, while we haven't seen it so far today, because all the Druid hands have just been glided away before they can do anything powerful, there is the potential to just go Anaconda, Germination, draw a million cards, play a million threats, and from there, it is very difficult for the Rogue to respond, so we'll have to see.
Very exciting stuff. This is one last chance for DawN to gain points this weekend, and for che0nsu a chance to pull himself even farther away from relegation, set his sights on playoffs, one game to decide it all, and he's got the killer combo I was talking about, Derek. He has the Octobot and the Neophyte, and he's on coin, so he'll have an extra card potentially to discount, an extra threat to play early. DawN does have Anaconda, but how quickly can he play it when there's Neophyte on the other side? I definitely want to see these two on the right kept. He keeps Passage as well. Interesting.
Very interesting. I guess just because his hand is, you know, in keeping Neophyte and Octobot relatively low value, like you're not drawing a lot of cards necessarily, you might want to use that afterwards to just refill the board. If you can get Shadow Step with Neophyte in play, Orc Merchant with Neophyte in play, there are some real powerful plays you can make.
I've been talking about Neophyte since the beginning of this, but the timing is another thing to discuss with this card. If you see in Nature Studies, I am more inclined to play it to block Overgrowth, so that would be next turn rather than coining it out this turn. As we can see, it would block DawN's intended Fungal Fortunes if che0nsu decides to start with it. But I think if you're playing the Secret Passage curve, you kind of want the Octo to discount the Passage hand, right?
I agree, and DawN's hand all of a sudden is really starting to shape together. Alignment is probably good here. Yeah, I was going to say it's not necessary if you can pick up a Germination, but with or without, this hand is popping.
If you go Prep Shroud, you can coin Octobot and leave it, potentially. Druid they're not running Feral Rage in the deck.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised to see Neophyte this turn because he saw DawN use the Nature Studies discount already, so it's not necessarily Overgrowth. It does block things like Innervate Overgrowth, which is a real threat, but I'd be inclined to time it for like I was thinking this turn would be prep Shroud Coin Octo, and then next turn proc Octo play Neophyte. It works, right?
Yeah, I guess he's maybe considering going Secret Passage even next turn to try and find the Shadow Step to replay it again on the following turn. Although that does seem a little ambitious.
Prep Shroud gonna happen now. He has a nicer proc than the Prize Plunderer as well. Oh. No Shadow Step though. che0nsu gets to vomit his hand, but DawN can play not that much, admittedly. Next turn.
It's a turn off, isn't it? And che0nsu is just going all in on the board here, saying that, you know, field contact is nice, make no mistake, and you're definitely looking for that still, but just going wide on board, getting that tempo down and making it difficult for them if they want to go for a Glowfly Swarm, for example, is very important.
This is very complex now for DawN. So many ways you can approach it, because if you wanted, he could just go Anaconda this turn and Nature Studies Fungal Fortune, but that means you have very little mana to work with next turn, and you're not likely to have the Anaconda survive. So he's starting Nature Studies. I suppose you take Pounce?
Probably, yeah. I don't think the others do anything realistically.
And probably hold the Pounce, just go for a Hero Power, kill the Neophyte. This is still not unsalvageable for DawN if he just gets an alignment down prior to there being a field contact on the board. I think he's in a good position.
I agree. Killing the Neophyte. No step shenanigans here, and che0nsu, while he has an aggressive start, it's not quite aggressive enough to lock out DawN's win condition, so we do need to see something impressive here off of the Secret Passage. Tempo 2-1, tempo 1-1.
Yep.
Oh man, he's all in.
Holding the broom, I guess. Not really sure what you want to rush out after this point because you played all your minions, but maybe he wants full board space for the things he gets from Passage.
Ooh,
Counterspell?
That's big. We'll take that.
Do you play it over another One Thief?
Man, you need every point of value you can get. Like, your hand is absolutely dead next turn. Maybe it's Fire Sale, honestly, just to trade. Like, if you don't think you have the mana to play Counterspell, that's arguably better.
Oh god, the number of times I've taken Fire Sale, traded it, and played an inactive Kazakus.
Oh, true, actually, true. Okay. Fireball.
Disaster.
Okay.
Yeah, sign me up. Going One Thief. Just chuck a Garrote face at this point, I think, as well.
What?
Evocation?
Rigged over Evo? I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I want the Evo. I want the
Evo. My
Just
God.
going in. Yeah, play the Garrote. All these cards go back to the original hand, which was admittedly kind of empty, but che0nsu's all in. This is the game plan, right? You play all the small things for free. You play the Neophyte to delay them. Neophyte's done its job. Now DawN has to answer this board and stay alive. Is it possible?
He's got... Like, I think you just have to eat the fact that you're wasting the discount. Go like Bloom, Anaconda, Fungal. You're not overdrawing then, right? And then you have to hope that you hit Bloom to go, like, Bloom and Germination to go Bloom Solar Germination on your Anaconda. Like, I don't know. It's pretty tight. There's not much you can actually hit here.
Is it ever, like, hold for a turn? Like, say, Lunar Arbor up. I hate it, but you can pounce and kill something else through hero power. Like, he's not dead on board. There's a lot of generated cards, which is very scary, but leaving yourself the mana to go Anaconda and then Bloom could be a big difference maker. I'm not sure, though.
I mean, it's too late now.
It's too late. Yeah, it is far too late. Pouncing? I'm not sure what's happening here.
I think this is just pure play paralysis. Like, he's going for Celestial maybe, but then he's just overloaded. Okay, Solar Arbor. Yeah. Fair enough, fair enough.
Still a complete turn. It guts his chances at the next turn being anything relevant, I think.
Yeah.
But he has a board.
He does, and there is also 5 damage on the other side, a fireball on the other side, which is 7.
Oh, right.
So it's 1 off?
1 mana off and 1 damage off.
Oh, 5 plus 7 is 12. Oi, 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 it's so close.
You ever evocation then? Like broom evocation? Because this Garrot is actually just dealing 3 as well. I don't know.
Right, right.
The Evo can get Hot Streak that can let you play Fireball even with the Evo played.
I mean, they have 20 damage on board, which means Bloom's second Arbor up is actually still not lethal even then, is it? So maybe you don't even have to clear any minions.
I mean, at worst, even if you go Evo and Brick, you can play Brain Freeze.
Right.
I want
true.
Alternatively, Garrot Brain Freeze Hero Power, play the Broom. That works as well. It sets up lethal. They're never playing Cenarian Ward with 4 mana next turn and already used. Yeah,
Garrot
I think
CS. Okay, yeah, like we said, even in the worst case scenario, there's no way, I don't think, or so unlikely that they are going to lethal you on this turn. It'd have to be like second Pounce and an Arbor up all played on this turn through a counterspell, which seems so unlikely. Fungal Fortune's the only card that can be played. Fungal Fortune's going to be counterspelled, and then che0nsu is going to win.
Yep. Nicely set up by che0nsu. I think Garrot, in one way or another, won the game, whether or not you played the counter spell, but I think che0nsu did just go for the safest possible line here. It plays around, I guess, Nature Studies into Feral Rage for armor or something like that. That could have messed with che0nsu potentially. So, well done. DawN not even gonna bother with any spells here. He wants the armor.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's traumatized by the Rig Fair game he let go off.
Indeed. I think DawN realistically though, apologies, is just thinking this one's over. Whether or not he's actually ready to admit it, deep down, he knows. He just knows.
Rough way to go out. Can't even clear the full board here. Unsure whether he should take the trade. Obviously playing around things that we're not thinking of, but we have seen this Fireball since the very beginning. che0nsu takes it in a very close series, a reverse sweep as Garrot Rogue. Peace sign from che0nsu, fashionable as ever. Derek gonna go ahead and cop the wardrobe soon. And very happy to see che0nsu turn it around from a very weak opener to the season.
And I got to say as well, not only is it good for him to get the win, it's good to see him playing on form as well. Like, I think he played well last week, but this series was just a masterclass from Rogue, in my opinion. At all points, he knew the exact weaknesses of his opponent and how to exploit that. This game plan, where he didn't see a contact the entire game, but just vomited stats onto the board, is exactly what you want to do. It shows just how he knows exactly how to play the matchup, wasn't being too greedy with the card draw, didn't try and go for the full combo too heavily at all. And it just meant that DawN was left with pretty much nothing to do in that game. Maybe if he'd gone for a different line where he saves the Anaconda for next turn, I think there was more of a chance. I think you and I both agree that the Solar Arbor turn was probably not the way to go, because I don't think it applies enough pressure to actually win the game next turn, and then you probably just lose the turn after. But either way, it's very nice for che0nsu and devastating for DawN. Man, he is down with only 1 point gained this week, which means he is at the end of it all with 5 points now, which is pretty firmly behind everyone else. It's only Blitzchung that is anywhere close to him now at 5 points just above.
Yeah, scary stuff indeed. On happier notes, though, I'm very happy to see that Garrot Rogue has had a strong performance. No major missteps throughout the day. I think che0nsu also just taught me a lot of things playing that game. Like, I did know Neophyte Octobot together and just be very aggressive against Druid is good, but keeping the secret passage is a stroke of genius. It seemed like it just gave him more resources. It's kind of just saying it's not field contact, but it's 4 cards, which on average will be more stats I can play on board, especially with the Octobot allowing him to discount everything. Just very nicely done, and we will be seeing potentially a lot more Garrote Rogue if it doesn't get banned. It seems that players are either banning that or Demon Hunter, but we'll see what our top 8 does because they've all been arranged for tomorrow. Gur versus Alutamu to start the day. Give Please versus che0nsu. That's a real chance for che0nsu to prove he can completely stay up there with the best. Lambi